Hey everybody, welcome back to another Blade XLord video. Today we're going to be talking about all the news that just came out. The Knight's Order content is coming out next week, as well as some events and a new summon, including a new fire unit Mirabel that we all know from the main story. So in this video I'm going to cover all the news, and I'm also going to do a quick breakdown of Mirabel and a preview of her banner and if you should pull her. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's take a look at the news here. There's quite a few little things that have popped up here. So the first thing is Day of the Week quests everyday promo, which is actually happening right now. So right now until, let's see, does it say until May 6th, you can do day of the week quests any single day. So if it's a Thursday quest, you can do it now. If it's that's a bad example, it's Thursday. If it's a Friday quest, if it's a Monday, whatever it is, any day of the week you can do any of the quests, which is really useful to farm your awakening materials. So I would do that a lot this weekend. If you're already done with the event, then I would start working on your awakening materials now, because it's really nice to spread it out and get it all done, and you don't have to wait for your day to come back again because you've got it all done right now. So if you have a main party, start working on that ASAP. Otherwise, we've got a featured fire element summon coming soon, which is going to be featuring multiple units, but it's also going to have a brand new unit included in it, which is Mirabel, and this is going to come out on Wednesday next week. So in the featured fire summon, there's going to be Mirabel and her weapon, but we're also going to excuse me, see all the fire units featured. So they're going to have increased appearance rates, both their weapons and their their SR weapons and the units themselves. So this is going to be a really good time to go after Alicia. If you haven't started yet and you like Alicia, which I know a lot of people do, then man, what a good time to reroll during this banner, because you can get lots of gems early on and then start trying to build your fire party. And we're finding out that fire parties actually pretty important, because the first Grim World that opens up after you beat the game or beat the story so far is going to be Forest Element, and there's going to be lots of forest content in the future, so having fire is certainly going to be very important for that. So all these units are going to be featured in all their weapons, and that's pretty nice. Alicia will definitely be a good target. Z or Zed as your fire tank will also be important to go for, and then as well, Nena the healer for fire is quite good. So lots of really good fire units, lots of really good fire weapons to go for. If you're already building a fire team, then this will be a good chance for you to try to get your weapons if you haven't got them yet, or even just to +1 your characters and +1 your weapons or evolved weapons. So this is going to be something to keep an eye out for. It's also going to have its own Stardust metal shop, of course. And if you're like me and you spent all of your Lord Stones, then I guess we're skipping this one. So we also have the Knight's Order content coming soon, and this is going to be a ranking system that's in the game. And I tried to find out more information about it. There's two different versions, the Trials and the Deca Trials. So the Trials just include trying to rank up and be ranked against everybody else. And the Deca Trials, I think that they are a little bit more difficult, so they're not going to be for a beginner. I was looking at the Japanese wiki, and I saw that there was a league system where you got placed into a league of 10 players and you tried to win in your league, get ranked in your league to move on, and that is something that really appeals to me. So I'm hoping that's what this is, because I don't think it explicitly says how the ranking is going to work, if it's going to be game-wide. I think there is a game-wide ranking, but I hope that there is also a league ranking, because that just sounds really cool to go up and down in leagues and try to beat specific people. But there's some tips here for the event boss that's going to be in this battle, and it's of course a forest boss that is going to put on a buff that will make it strong against all the elements except for fire, so you're definitely going to want a fire team for this. So yeah, so this buff cannot be removed, and it increases resistance for all other elements except for fire. So it's really wanting you to go for this banner one way or another. Okay, so besides that, we also have our featured unit with their featured weapon, and that is going to be Mirabel. So Mirabel is a very cool character in the story. She's got an interesting backstory, and she ends up helping Ride on his journey quite a bit. She is a caster, ranged caster. She uses a staff, and she is the fire element. She has lots of really cool skills, and she is going to depend on you playing her in a fire party. She's not going to be nearly as good if you're not in a full fire formation, so that's something to keep in mind if you pull her. So her battle skills include Mystic Red, which is a single enemy 10-second cooldown, 240% magical damage to an enemy, and increases the damage of your next skill by 1.5. Falling Flare is magical single enemy 12-second cooldown, deals 430% magical damage to enemy, lowers fire resistance when hit from the side. Wing of Crimson is 640 magical damage. It's an area effect, 15-second cooldown. These are all really quick. Damage to all enemies in the area of effect, and it inflicts burn when your HP is 50% or more. And then Inferno's Call is the 27-second cooldown area attack. It does 1090% magical damage to all enemies in the area of effect, and the damage increases by 1.5 when they have burn. So she is pretty interesting. She's going to be a damage dealer, just like Heathbell is. She's not going to be a breaker or a disruptor. She's going to be someone that wants to do a boatload of damage when the enemy is broken and all your attacks are hitting for criticals. You'll want to make sure your opponent, your enemies, have the burn status effect, which is something that your other fire characters can do as well. And you're also going to want to keep her HP up so that you can inflict burn with her abilities. The catch is that, and we'll talk about her stats in just a second here, is that it's not going to be that easy to keep her HP up, but maybe you'll have to have a really good tank to help with that, but we'll get more into that. Her Brave skill is an all enemy attack that deals 1170% magical damage to all enemies, but it costs 4 Brave points on your Gauge, which is really expensive, but it also lowers fire resistance when the enemy's target element is when their element is forest. So against forest raid bosses or event bosses, this is gonna make, this Brave skill will make your entire party just do so much more damage because they're all gonna be fire. So it's really solid for that specific effect. But otherwise, this isn't a spectacular Brave ability by any means whatsoever. She has some auto skills. Phoenix Flame, it revives her with 30% HP when you're knocked out of battle, only once per battle. And this is important because she is not very defensive. She also has Flame of Heresy, which greatly extends the duration of burn inflicted on enemies, which is very important. So you want to LB3 her as soon as possible so that you can keep that burn inflicted on people, and then you can do way more damage with her abilities. She also has link up bonus magic attack up for fire units, which is great for your fire party, especially if you're fire healer, fire DPS all use magic attacks, and that's going to be super relevant. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about her abilities. Okay, so taking a look at Mirabel here, you can see that they've ranked her in Japan as an S-class overall. She's got some good scores in buff and debuff and really high score in damage. And this is specific to if you're playing a fire party, but she's got a really good ranking. Her break and disruption are not that highly ranked. Her weapon is the Muspelheim. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. But we're gonna talk about that in just a second here. Her stats. This is the big thing that we got to talk about. So her HP is one of the lowest of DPS overall. Her attack is is low, but that doesn't really matter that much. Her magic attack is tied for the highest of all the DPS, so that's great. And her defense is one of the lowest around, and that is a really big deal. Her magic defense is very high for a DPS, so that's good. So what you're getting out of here is a super magic attacker with some good magic defense, but super low defense for physical attacks and super low HP. And one of her skills depends on her having 50% or more HP. So now you can kind of see why they gave her a self-res, because she's going to die and she'll need to be able to revive herself. You're going to need to keep her topped up in order to make her abilities do as much damage as possible. So maybe this is going to involve equipping that accessory that boosts your staff wielder's HP, and that can go quite high. You can get an extra 1500 from that accessory or more. And you can also boost with sigils and other effects as well to make sure that her HP is going to be a little bit higher, because you need to make sure that she's doing max DPS. So those are just two things to consider. Other than that, she's just going to be really good in a fire party, and that's all they've said about here. You can kind of check out the recommended stuff that they have for her, and the recommended sigils as well. But her weapon, the Muspelheim, is really awesome. So we're just gonna scroll down here to find the stats. The attack is 379 at max, and the magic attack is 412. These are two of the highest stats around. Oh, and her weapon will also give her 807 HP, which is really vital for her. So I think that if you're gonna go for her, getting this weapon will be a top priority. I mean, it always is, but if you want to get the most out of her, this is going to be vital. Her auto skills, you got your usual Imperial Fire Sword, which is very great, but then you also have the Flame Bird Wings, which is probably not the English translation, but it occasionally raises your magic attack during your auto attacks, which is a really solid skill. So just another reason why this weapon is going to really push her over the edge to become the new Heath Bell in terms of damage, but for your fire parties. And that's pretty much going to be it. So I've actually gone into more depth than I thought I would on her, and I really can give you some advice right now in terms of this banner. If you want to build a fire party, then you should pull on it. And if you have a fire party already and you're needing to get some weapons, or maybe you want to add Mirabel to push your party over the edge in terms of damage, then this is the banner for you. But if you are not in those positions, if you're like me, you've built a light party, you've built whatever type of party, then you're going to want to skip this banner and start saving up, because when your element banner comes along, you don't want to be poor. You want to be able to splurge on that. Or if another element banner comes up that you're interested in, you want to be able to dive into that and hopefully get that those rate up units, so that you can start building your new party. But that's going to be it for me. I hope this video was useful to you, so let me know if it was down in the comments, and let me know if you're excited for Mirabel. I think that we're definitely going to see lots of people switching to fire for the Knight's Order and for the Grimworld quests. So get ready to see lots of people posting their huge break damage photos with Mirabel included. Alright, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can show your support with a like and subscribe, and by checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/MysidiaGaming. Until next time, keep it real, Mysidians.